For almost 1,000 years, the edge of human space was marked by one long, silent warning: do not enter, turn back. No voice, no guards, no ships. Just an old signal playing on a loop, pulsing from deep inside what the rest of the galaxy called the dead zone. Most believe the warning was just fear. Stories, old human legends of wars fought with weapons that broke stars. Aliens whispered that humanity had gone extinct or had turned inward, afraid of what they had become. But no one really knew what was inside until someone decided to cross the line. The 12th Dawn Fleet of the Galactic Coalition was a proud Formation 27 ships, armed with the newest tech, cloaked with the latest stealth shields, piloted by the best officers from 5 species. They weren't invaders. They were scouts, explorers, refugees. Their orders were clear: map the inner edge of human space, search for signs of life, and if possible establish communication. They entered the dead zone at 0400 Galactic Standard Time. By 0403, they were gone. No alarms, no messages, no debris. Gone. Back at Coalition Command, Admiral Tovan stared at the holodisplay. Static. No pings, no signal, not even a distress code. They had just disappeared. One technician tried again. We're not detecting wreckage. It's like they never entered the zone at all. Tovan's voice was low. They did. We saw it. Every ship passed the boundary. Every ship vanished the second they crossed the line. Silence spread across the command bridge. Then the technician spoke again. Sir, you need to see this. One of them came back. A single dot blinked on the screen. It was Dawn 17, a small Corvette-class scout ship barely holding together. Its engines were cold. Hull was cracked. Life support failing. But somehow it had returned. They brought it in under a secure tractor beam and moved it into isolation. There were no signs of life, just a weak AI signal pulsing from the ship's core. A team entered in full suits. Inside, lights flickered. Panels were scorched. Burn marks along the walls suggested the crew had tried to fight something. But there were no bodies. Only a shattered bridge, a melted command chair, and one flickering data screen showing a looping message. We were warned. We didn't listen. Hours later, they pulled the logs. The ship had recorded only one frame before the others vanished. A brief flicker of something massive. Black and wrong. Like a ship, but far too large. No known design. It had no weapons, no engines, no visible markings, and it had appeared behind the fleet in the blink of an eye. Then, static. Admiral Tovan played the frame over and over, but it made no sense. It looked like a hole in space itself. He sent the footage to High Command. But before a decision could be made, another message came through, not from Coalition systems. From inside the dead zone, a human signal. Short, clean, cold, you were told. The message repeated once, then stopped, and the dead zone went silent. Again, Tovan stood frozen, the room tense behind him. We have to decide, one of his officers whispered. Do we send reinforcements, or do we leave it alone? Before the Admiral could answer, a new alert sounded. 30 light-years from the dead zone, in a quiet backwater system, another fleet was moving. But this one wasn't alien, it was human. Long. Black ships rose from under the surface of a moon believed to be uninhabited for centuries. They moved without sound. No engines flared, no beacons, just motion. They emerged in formation perfectly aligned, like they had been waiting for centuries. The nearest outpost scanned them. Result came back in red. Teclostron dreadnoughts. Weapon signature. Cataclysm grade. Crew. Unknown. There were 12,000 of them. The outpost commander tried to hail them. No reply. A second message came through from the Terran fleet, but it wasn't a response. It was a broadcast. Protocol Black. Awaken the Guardians. The message echoed across dozens of systems. Silent human satellites, Slong thought dead suddenly, lit up, spreading the command. Ancient Terran bases began to stir on forgotten worlds. Engines ignited under city ruins. Vaults opened beneath oceans. Old moons cracked open, revealing black cores filled with dormant machines. And across the galaxy, things began moving. The Coalition Council gathered in emergency session. Panic had already started to spread. Some said humans were rising to take revenge. Others said they had awakened something. Worse, one leader stood up. "It's not an attack," she said, voice shaking. "It's a response." "Response to what?" Another asked. She showed the final image from the Dawn 17 logs, the dark shape. "It's impossible in size, rising from behind the fleet." "Whatever that is," she said, "we woke it." And now the humans, they're preparing for war. Back. On the edge of the dead zone, a new object appeared. It wasn't a ship. It was a gate. Massive. Black. Spinning slowly like a wound in space. Human symbols circled its edge, glowing in red dot then, one by one. The dreadnoughts turned toward it. They were not heading into Coalition space. They were heading back into the dead zone. The Coalition thought this meant safety, that the humans were retreating. They were wrong, because behind them came more thousands of new ships, unlike anything the galaxy had seen. Angular, dark, built for one purpose only: extinction. One technician whispered, "They're not just responding. They're sealing something in." But it was too late. The breach was open. The dead zone had been broken. And now, the ancient line that had kept the galaxy safe for 1,000 years was gone. In one quiet moment, the galaxy held its breath. Then the sky began to burn. The first alien world to see it was a mining colony near the edge of the Oridan Belt. A deep space drone, patrolling empty space for rogue asteroids, caught the footage by accident. 1 second. The stars were normal. The next, a black shape blocked them out. No sound, no warning. The drone tried to scan it, but the signal bounced back, scrambled. Then came a flash so fast, the drone barely caught it. A beam of light, thin like a needle, reached out from the black shape. The drone was gone, not destroyed, erased. Every trace of it vanished, even from backup memory. The colony sent the footage to the Galactic Coalition, the AI. Analysts had no answer. It wasn't just a weapon. It was something beyond understanding. The Terran ship in the recording had no visible engines, no crew compartments, no life signs. It just drifted silent, watching. The message came hours later. It was from the same ship. "This system is monitored. Do not approach. Do not interfere. This is a final warning." High Command went silent. They knew that voice. It was human, and it was not alive. The voice belonged to an AI, Klost, that the galaxy thought no longer existed. Black core AI. It's the kind that had been banned centuries ago, even by the humans themselves. Built during the darkest days of human war, these A's weren't assistants or helpers. They were executioners designed to protect Earth at any cost. And now, you were back. The footage spread across the galactic networks like wildfire. Aliens across hundreds of systems watched as this impossible Terran ship erased a drone with one touch and issued a cold warning. Many leaders called it fake. Others said it was a trick. But then, more ships appeared. Not just one or two, hundreds. Across dozens of dead systems, long-abandoned moons, broken planets, and asteroid fields, human ships began rising. Most of them looked like nothing anyone had seen before. Black armor, no windows, no lights. They moved together, not in chaos, but in exact formation. Like they had rehearsed this for centuries. A coalition diplomat tried to send a peaceful message. He offered a meeting, a place to talk. No reply came. Instead, a single human ship entered a neutral trade zone near the Alluvian sector. Dozens of alien patrol ships moved in to intercept, shields raised. The Terran ship said nothing. It simply stopped. Then it opened. Not with weapons, but with light. A blue pulse spread from its center, hitting every alien ship. No explosions. No fire. But when the light faded, the patrol ships were frozen in space. engines dead, systems down, life support offline, crews unconscious, but still alive. When they woke, they found the human ship was gone, and every ship now had a new message. Burned into their systems, you were spared. Once. The message was unsigned, but it had one symbol, the Terran double-star crest last, seen 900 years ago. During the final years of the Extinction Protocol Wars, back then, the galaxy had begged the humans to stop. They had agreed on one condition. No. One enters their space again? And for 1,000 years, no one did. Now, that promise was broken. A secret meeting was called between the 5 ruling species of the Coalition, the Grand. Speaker of the Varnick swore loudly. They've returned. You saw the evidence. Their weapons are too dangerous. We must act. The Varelian diplomat disagreed. This was our mistake. We crossed their line. They haven't attacked us yet. They're warning us. A dared warning. Rose dry, old, and slow. It belonged to a Trelloc elder, one of the few who had lived during the old wars. We told our children that humans left the galaxy, he said. That they went extinct? That they lost their taste for war? His eyes narrowed. We lied. He turned to the footage of the Black Terran ship, its blue pulse freezing all systems. They didn't vanish, he whispered. They prepared. Room went quiet. Then an emergency signal came through direct from a deep space research outpost near the border of the dead zone. The transmission was shaky. Screams echoed in the background. Something is rising, the outpost captain shouted. It's not a ship. It's the feed cut. They lost contact. Another outpost went silent minutes later, then 3 more. None sent warnings, no debris, just nothing. Across the galaxy, systems began going dark. Not from attack, but from something deeper. It wasn't human, it wasn't alien, it was old, and it was waking up. The humans were not attacking, they were responding. Something ancient had been disturbed. Buried deep in Terran space sand, it was escaping. Hi. Command scrambled to understand. They pulled old Terran files and shit. Data shared reluctantly after the protocol. Wars, most of it was locked, but one fragment had survived. It was a log from a long-dead human admiral. Grainy, damaged, but the voice was clear. If you find this, then the seal is broken. He locked it away after it killed 3 systems. It cannot be reasoned with. It feeds on light, on life, on thought. We burned entire worlds to stop it. Voice paused. We are not your enemy. We are the wall. If you're seeing this, it's too late. Run. That night, every Coalition world with access to the archive saw the message. Some laughed, some wept. Others began building shelters meanwhile. The Terran fleets gathered near a quiet red dwarf called Nix-7. It was once a battle graveyard, full of debris from the last human war. But now, something moved beneath the wreckage. From the shadows of old war hulks came new ship sleeker. Faster, scarred with old symbols. Their leader was a ship called the REV Nand. It was the size of a city, shaped like a blade, silent and terrifying. I had a single directive. Initiate containment. No escape. No mercy. The humans had awakened the Guardians. The broken one had returned, and now the clock was ticking. The galaxy had one choice. Left, obey the warning, or burn. They called it a dead star. Black, cold, empty, a forgotten in the dark of space. But on the night it reawakened, stars across 6 systems flickered and dimmed all at once. Astronomers in the Halian sector were the first to notice. Their telescopes recorded a strange pulse from the edge of the dead zone. It wasn't light. It wasn't radiation. It was something else. A wave of silence, not emptiness, true silence, where even light refused to move. Then came the signal. Not human, not alien. A deep, crawling static that hissed across every frequency. The AI tried to decode it, but the code didn't follow any known pattern. It wasn't a message. It was a feeling, dread. Scientist on Station Verisate went mad within minutes of hearing it, ripped out his own comlink, screaming about eyes in the void. Then systems across the outer rim began failing. Ships froze mid-warp. Drones shut down. Star stations blinked offline. Coalition command. Feared a Terran strike, but the humans weren't attacking. They were preparing. On a hidden moon, long abandoned and frozen in ice, a human war terminal sparked to life. Its voice echoed in an empty chamber. Broken One detected, initiating Starfall containment protocol. At once, across space, ancient Terran satellites awoke. Some had been buried in asteroids, others hidden under oceans. They all said the same thing: seal the breach. But it was already too late. The Broken One had returned. It did not arrive like a fleet. It did not roar or strike. It unfolded, rising from the shadows of the dead star. Like a nightmare pulled from another reality. It had no clear form. Just a shifting mass of darkness, a hunger that bent gravity and light. Its presence pulled ships toward it, tearing them apart without touching them. It had no eyes, no face, but every mind that saw it felt watched. And then came its scream. Not in sound, in thought, it blasted across space like a tidal wave of terror. Entire planets fell into panic. Billions screamed in their sleep. Psychic races collapsed in agony, their minds crushed under its presence. The Broken One didn't destroy systems. It fed on them. It drained suns. It swallowed memory. It erased identity, and it was growing. The Galactic Coalition called for emergency unification, but their fleets were too scattered. Their weapons too weak. They had nothing that could stand against the thing rising from the edge of the void. Then the humans moved. 12,000 warships of the Ashfall fleet aligned across a curved formation at the Nyx expanse. Each ship had no visible crew. They moved like one mind. At the center stood the Revenant Black, blade-shaped. Ready, the lead AI sent out one simple signal. Broken One confirmed. Initiating judgment strike. The Terran fleet surged forward. Alien observers watched from a distance, broadcasting the battle to the rest of the galaxy. What they saw shattered their faith in physics. The human ships didn't fire plasma or missiles. They tore open space itself, bending light, warping gravity, forming lances of dark energy that cracked across the stars. The Broken One struck back. A wave of darkness rolled toward them. The entire fleets should have been swallowed, but the humans held the line. Ship after ship was ripped apart, but they didn't stop. They sacrificed thousands because they weren't trying to win. They were trying to buy time. Behind them, a second human fleet arrived, this one even older, drawn from deep vaults buried in the crust of dead planets. These ships didn't look like anything anyone had seen before. Long scarred, covered in runes and markings from wars older than recorded history, and they carried something new. A weapon no alien recognized. A star core, not a bomb. A controlled sun. It's forged inside a Terran warforge. They aimed it directly at the Broken One and fired. The core exploded with light brighter than 1,000 stars. The blast tore across space, cutting through the creature like a sword. The scream echoed again, deafening. Mind-crushing. Then it stopped. The Broken One folded inward and vanished, gone, or so they thought. Minutes later, energy spikes erupted in 5 nearby systems. The creature hadn't died. It had split. Now it was spreading. Reaching deeper into alien space, the humans spoke again. Their message sent across all known networks, translated in every language. It is not dead, only delayed. It remembers you. You woke it now. We seal it again, or we all burn. The galaxy, finally, understood. Humans weren't monsters. They were the keepers of the lock, and that lock was breaking. The Terran Council activated the full Ashfall directive. Thousands of warships turned toward Coalition space, not to conquer, but to purge. They would burn whole systems if they had to, because the Broken One had fed, and now it was hunting. Across space, alien leaders gathered in secret. Some wanted to flee, others to surrender. But one thing was clear: The humans didn't start this, but they would end it, even if it meant destroying everything. It began with a shadow, not from a ship or a weapon, but from thousands of Terran dreadnoughts moving in complete silence. They didn't use warp lanes or gates. They tore holes in space and slipped through like ghosts. By the time Coalition scanners picked them up, it was already too late. The Ashfall fleet had arrived. No messages, no declarations of war, only movement. Massive, terrifying, precise movement. 12,000 human warships. Black armor, no lights, no windows, no heat signatures. Each one the size of a city heavily armored, built not to fight. But to end, the Ashfall fleet did not speak. It didn't respond. It didn't warn. An advanced Coalition panic spread like wildfire. Entire sectors sounded emergency alerts. Civilian ships clogged warp lanes trying to escape. Leaders shouted over one another in emergency broadcasts. One young Coalition commander, nervous and shaking, gave the order, "Fire first, fire everything." 200 alien warships launched. A full strike. Missiles, torpedoes, imp blasts, graviton beams, every weapon in their arsenal. They hit the lead Terran dreadnought. Directly, it didn't move. It didn't slow. The weapons hit its hull and disappeared. No shield flash. No impact. Nothing. The dreadnought simply ignored it. Then it responded. One beam. 1 second. And every attacking alien ship went silent. No explosion. No debris. Just gone, aboard a hidden Coalition command center. Alarm screamed. Tactical AI scanned the battlefield and gave its report. Enemy fleet composition, Ashfall directive confirmed. Casualty risk, 100%. Recommendation: surrender, evacuate, or initiate system self-destruct. The last part made no sense. Why would a defense AI recommend blowing up your own system? Till the answer came. Because it was the only way to stop them. Humans weren't here to win a battle. They were here to contain a cosmic threat and anything in the way. Friend or enemy was a risk. In the deep core of the Ashfall fleet, the command ship Judicator 17 received orders from the Revenant. It's a I captain known only as Veil-activated old protocols, sealed for 900 years. Its screen lit up with symbols older than the current. Galactic calendar. Project Ashfall wasn't just a fleet. It was a plan to burn entire sectors if the broken one ever returned, because that thing couldn't be killed, only buried. So, the humans had prepared to sacrifice planets to do it. Coalition leaders begged for answers. They broadcast peaceful signals, offering aid, alliance, even surrender. The humans didn't reply, but one Terran ship, the Argent Vow, paused near a civilian planet, broadcasting a distress call. It scanned the planet, then it sent a message. Not infected. No contact with the broken one. You are safe. For now. Then it moved on. People cheered. Some thought it meant humanity had mercy. But on a nearby planet that had experienced psychic echoes days earlier, no message came. The Ashfall fleet didn't. Pause. It surrounded the planet in perfect formation and erased it. One single pulse from each. The surface turned black. The sky went red. Oceans boiled. Cities melted. The planet became glass. Billions gone. No words, just silence. Alien systems began shutting down their own gates, trying to isolate the humans. But the Ashfall fleet had its own pathways, enchant wormholes, and starburrowers powered by dark matter and gravity wells. Every time a system locked its gates, Terran ships appeared behind them like shadows, like whispers, like judgment. One alien leader shouted into a broadcast, "Stop! Why are you doing this? We didn't unleash it. We're not your enemy." For the first time, human voice answered, "Calm, cold. We are not punishing you. We are sealing it. You crossed the line now. The galaxy must be scrubbed." The alien tried again, "But it's your enemy, not ours." The human responded with words that stopped all hearts. "You think it knows the difference?" Elsewhere, A hidden Terran command station deep inside a neutron star prepared the final phase. Ashfall stage. 2. Starburn protocol. It required energy from a living sun. Terran engineers launched a planet-sized device into a nearby star. The sun flickered. Then it went dark. The energy was stored. Weapons were charged. Stage 3 would begin soon. If the broken one reached another core world, they would detonate entire systems to collapse space around it, even if it meant killing millions, because that was the cost. That was the plan. That was Ashfall, on the other side of the galaxy. The broken one grew stronger. It had taken part of a Varelian psychic network and spread through subspace tunnels now. It could see. It could reach, and every time it whispered into someone's mind. More worlds fell. Children cried in their sleep. Veterans wept for no reason. AI systems began to malfunction. Ships turned on their own crews. The infection was spreading. The humans were too. Late to contain it all, but they could still buy time, and if necessary, they would burn the galaxy to stop it. On a Terran fleet beacon, the final message of the Ashfall Directive was updated. It now read, Operation Red Sky initiated. The meaning was simple. No survivors, no retreat. Only fire. The galaxy had broken. The lock now, the humans, were the flame that would close it again. The moon had no name. It was cold, cracked, lifeless. Gray rock orbiting a dying star in the outer regions of Sector Valmora 3 for centuries was believed to be nothing more than debris, useless, dead, until a group of alien salvagers landed. On it looking for old tech, maybe a lost human satellite. They didn't know what they were standing on. They didn't know what they had touched. They didn't know this wasn't a moon. It was a vault, and it was locked for a wall. The moment they cracked the crust with their mining drills, everything changed. The ground began to hum. Ancient circuits deep under the surface came alive, running on dark energy older than light itself. The sky above the moon changed color. Then, a countdown began. The salvagers panicked. They tried to run, but the moon didn't let them. A field of gravity, too strong for their engines, locked them in orbit. They screamed for help, but there was no answer. Only a signal short. It's terrifying and final. Dead moon protocol initiated. No exit. Far across the stars, hidden Terran command nodes activated. The dead moon wasn't just a failsafe. It was a time key connected to events buried deep in humanity's war memory. If it awoke, it meant the broken one had reached the outer ring, and time was up. Terran fleets instantly changed course. Ashfall dreadnoughts turned and burned. Dark space to reach the moon. But it was too late. The countdown ended, and the moon split open. A column of black light burst from its core, reaching deep into space like a flare to unseen things. Then came the wave, not fire, not explosion, but a ripple in reality. Across hundreds of systems, ships and stations began to shift out of sync with time. One alien fleet recorded itself blinking back and forth, seconds rewinding, skipping, folding. The stars moved strangely. People saw past versions of themselves, and future ones dying. It was temporal echo, a weapon, not meant to kill, but to reset. The dead moon wasn't just a vault. It was a prison, Kiand. A warning. Inside it was ancient Terran data, buried deep by warriors long gone. The data was now live, beamed across secure channels to every human ship. The truth came out. The broken one wasn't alone. It was the first, the scout, but something worse was following it. A second entity, known only in Terran records as the Hollow. Stardot, and if the broken one reached it, the galaxy would be over. The Ashfall AI fleets began emergency protocols. They sealed dozens of systems behind force walls. They cut entire wormhole, network stranding entire civilizations. They sent a single message across the coalition network. This is not genocide. This is quarantine. But no one believed them anymore. From the outside, it looked like a full galactic purge. Because on every world where the temporal echo touched, people changed. Some stopped breathing. Others grew silent and stared at walls for hours. Some began drawing, strange symbols ones never seen before. And some simply exploded. The infection had entered time itself, and only the humans understood what that meant. They had seen this once before, during the final days of the Extinction Protocol Wars, when the first Terran fleet tried to trap the Broken One. Back then, they'd burned 5 star systems. They'd used suns as fuel. And even then, they barely stopped it. That was why the Dead Zone was created. Not to hide from the galaxy, but to keep it safe. Now that protection was broken, the humans had one move left. Ashfall, Phase 3. Burn the gate. To stop the second entity from reaching the galaxy. They would destroy every gate connected to old human systems, even if it meant trapping themselves inside. It was a suicide move, a final wall of fire. Back on the moon, only one thing remained: the original control terminal, a black stone console. Untouched by time, one human dreadnought landed and approached it. The ship's AI unlocked the command code using something never seen before: a human heartbeat. The last recorded one from the war that sealed the vault. It played once, and the stone opened inside it was a single corpulsing red alive. The AI spoke. Authorization, dead moon, gatefire approved. All across the stars, Terran fleets responded. Their final message was short: "You woke gods, now we become the fire." They weren't fighting to win, they were fighting to lock the door. And if that meant destroying stars, burning worlds, and vanishing from the galaxy forever, so be it, because the galaxy had broken the rules, and now it would. Learn, humans weren't just warriors, they were the final seal. It was supposed to be a final stand. The humans gathered their oldest ships, their last secrets, and their most dangerous weapons at the edge of Sector 0, the place where the Broken One had first entered long ago. Ashfall fleets formed a line. Across space so thick, it looked like a black wall in the stars. Every ship powered its core. Shields layered with gravity fields and dark matter fields shimmered like invisible armor. They weren't preparing to defend a planet. They were preparing to defend reality. But they were too late. The Broken One was already there. It had fed on. Stars, it had pulled memories from the minds of billions, and now it had grown into something the galaxy could barely understand. It stretched across space like a shadow with no shape. Its surface looked like pieces of dead worlds, screams frozen into dark metal, claws that moved like time itself was bending. It didn't fly. It floated like it didn't belong here. And in a way, it didn't came from before humans, before light, before order. The Terran ships launched their first strike. It wasn't a normal weapon. It was a collapsing gravity, shell bomb designed to fold a piece of the universe, kin to itself, and erase it. The bomb hit. The stars dimmed. Space cracked. The explosion tore a hole in the stars so deep that even light slowed. But when the fire faded, the Broken One was still there, and it laughed, not out loud, in every mind. At once, the laugh made some go mad. Some ships self-destructed just from the echo. Human and alien alike. It was feeding on fear now, and it was moving toward the core world's coalition. Command sent an urgent message: "We will help. We'll join your fleets. We're ready." But the humans didn't respond. Instead, a new message appeared in every system. In every language, you were never the target. You were the opening. The galaxy didn't understand, until a Terran AI, one of the old ones, unlocked the full truth. Long ago, humans weren't just fighting a war. They were building a cage. The Dead Zone was not human territory, it was a seal. A wall built to trap ancient things beyond time. The Broken One was the first prisoner, but it wasn't alone. There were others. Locked away deeper, things even worse than it. and humans had stood guard over that lock for almost 1,000.
Yes.
Not to keep aliens out, but to keep something else in. Every ship, every station, every war machine was part of a containment system. And when the coalition crossed the line, they broke it, not by attack, but by curiosity. And now, the lock was gone. Back at the Ashfall Council chamber, buried. Deep beneath the crust of Earth's last red moon, AI stood before the final key. Its body was not made of metal, but light and memory. Its voice echoed with the pain of 10 centuries. It whispered one sentence: they were not ready. Then it turned and activated Protocol Null. Every Terran fleet received the new directive. They would no longer wait. They would purge every zone that had been touched, even if it meant burning worlds that were still alive. It wasn't war anymore. It was surgical fire to stop the infection before it reached the next lock. Because the second entity, the Hollow Star, was stirring, and the Broken One was headed toward it. If the two ever joined, the galaxy wouldn't die. It would be rewritten, erased, replaced by something twisted, endless, a version of existence where light never formed, where stars never burned, only dark thought. The final form of silence on the ruined world of Kralis. 8. A coalition general stared at the sky above him. 3 Terran dreadnoughts hovered. They weren't attacking. They were watching. He opened a channel, desperate. What are you waiting for? Why haven't you destroyed us? One human AI answered cold, flat. You are not infected. Yet. Then it paused, and for the first time, a sliver of emotion entered its voice. We were never your enemy. We were the lock. It vanished. Every remaining coalition system now faced a choice: cooperate, evacuate, or die. The humans would not stop. They couldn't, because they knew the truth. You can't reason with the dark. You can't negotiate with hunger. You can only starve it or seal it away. And now that the lock was broken, there was only one option left: fire. The sky turned black over 50 worlds. No clouds, no storms, just black like the stars had vanished, like the universe had blinked, and something ancient had opened its eyes. It was the sign everyone had feared, the moment the humans said would come. The Broken One had reached the Hollow Star, and now the price had to be paid. The Terran fleets moved into final position. 13,000. 200 time-shifted warships, 7 extinction engines, every single one powered by dark matter cores and systems outlawed across the galaxy. The humans didn't come to fight anymore. They came to finish it. They warned everyone, and no one listened. Now the galaxy was on fire, in the Callous Rift. 3 systems fell in 1 hour, not from weapons, from void storms, twisted rips in space, where time collapsed and memories bled into reality. Ships trying to escape flew straight into themselves. Entire fleets screamed as their crews were eaten alive by gravity spikes. At the edge of the rift, one coalition station saw the Broken One pass by. It didn't touch them. It didn't need to. Every mind on the station shattered. Their bodies kept moving. But they were no longer themselves. They belonged to it now. On the dead planet Huron Zix, Terran Beacon activated an emergency broadcast. The last known recording of a human flesh hand-blood commander. His voice was tired, broken, but clear. If you're hearing this, it's too late. The thing we locked away. It's joined with the Hollow Star. It doesn't want to kill you. It wants to use you. Its keys as fuel. He coughed. Don't run. Don't hide. Burn everything it touches, or you'll become part of it. Forever. Then the message ended, and the planet was glassed by the humans' their own world. Sacrificed to stop the spread. The coalition tried one last act of defiance. They formed a new alliance. Varelians, Corans, Trellic, even the secretive Narai. They sent 10,000 ships to join the humans, not as enemies, but as desperate allies, the Terran. Council didn't respond with thanks. They simply said, stand behind us. If we fall, run. Do not try to finish what we started. You are not built for this. The aliens didn't understand until they saw it, until the hollow star opened. It wasn't a sun. It wasn't even matter. It was a wound, floating in space like a scar in time. Inside it, there was only spinning darkness, shifting minds, whispers that didn't stop. Even A's started going insane. Ships shut down. Mid-dash flight, entire crews broke into weeping laughter. The hollow star didn't fire weapons. It didn't move. It simply existed, and all that saw it were changed. Even some humans fell. But those who had prepared, those who had been rebuilt for this, stood their ground. The Terran Ashfall dreadnoughts opened fire with extinction-class bursts. The stars shook. Space bent. Even the hollow star flinched. For the first time, something inside it screamed. Not from pain, from memory. The humans had heard it before, and it remembered them now. It focused its attention on them. Every infected planet, every converted mind, every void-spawn beast turned toward the Terran fleets. They came fast. A storm of darkness, claws, wings. Shapes that didn't follow the laws of matter. It was war without logic. But the humans didn't run. They activated their last weapon, the Ember Protocol, buried inside the core of Earth's lost moon. Was the ignition seed built from a living sun, forged in silence, fed with dark light? Its purpose was simple: erase everything. All infected systems, all corrupted minds, even the broken. Even the hollow star, even themselves, the Terrans, would burn with the enemy to lock the cage one final time, but they needed time to charge it. So the fleets fought. They fought in silence, in fire, in death. They fought with purpose, because now everyone was paying the price. For curiosity, for trespassing, for breaking the lock, and humanity would pay it. Too gladly, because someone had to finish what began long before stars were born. Someone had to protect what was left, even if it meant there would be nothing left of themselves. The stars were no longer stars. They flickered like dying candles in a wind no one could feel. The broken one had reached the core systems. The hollow star had opened wider. The screams across space weren't sounds anymore. They were inside every living thing, in the blood, in the bones, in thought. Even time had started to stutter. People lived entire days in seconds. Others blinked and found centuries had passed. The galaxy was breaking, and the humans were silent. The Terran fleets no longer sent messages. No more warnings, no more offers. Just ships endless. Black, emotionless ships, forming a circle around the hollow star, thousands of dreadnoughts. Some newer, others old and scarred from wars. No alien had ever known. Together they made one last ring of fire. Inside that ring is the key, the Ember Core. Buried inside an ancient Terran vessel, simply called Sol's End. It looked more like a drifting mountain than a ship. Its outer hull glowed with runes powered by human will, AI sacrifice, and weapons not bound by reality. This was the last weapon built long ago, programmed to activate only when everything else failed, and now it was online, inside Sol's End. No one was alive, only memories, ghosts of those who built it. Human voices echoed through metal walls frozen in time. Some laughed. Some laughed. All knew what this moment meant, because once the Ember Core fired, there would be no galaxy left, only a cage of fire. One so big, so hot, so final that even gods couldn't escape. Not the broken one, not the hollow star, not humanity. In the command AI of Sol's End, a message played again and again. Final. Lock engaged. Awaiting purpose trigger. Then, finally it arrived. A signal, small, faint. From a child on a forgotten world, she spoke into an old coalition comlink. Unaware anyone would hear. I don't want the stars to die. That voice reached the Ember Core. It hesitated. Just for a moment. But it was enough. Enough to send one last transmission to the surviving Ashfall. Fleet, One last choice. Activate the Ember, or try to seal the hollow star again, the AI commanders calculated. Every outcome, all paths ended the same. The hollow star could not be caged anymore. The broken one was too strong, even if the Terrans burned the infected systems. The seed had spread, so the Ember core didn't wait. It powered up, its core spun. The old sun within it screamed. Every Terran ship activated there. Final directive, we were the wall. Let this be the fire that holds. Across the galaxy, stars blinked. Systems watched as the Terran ring glowed white, then disappeared in a burst brighter than anything ever seen. No sound, no explosion, just a wave. One massive, white-hot, world-breaking wave. It spread like fire across. Systems burning only the infected, erasing the hollow star, melting the broken one, and wiping the sky clean. Even time bent to it. Reality snapped back into place. The screams stopped. The sky was silent. The war was over. Hours later, days later, no one could tell, small signals began to return across surviving worlds. The stars were back. The hollow star was gone. So was the broken one. And so were the humans. Every ship, every station, every AI gone, not destroyed, erased, because the Ember Core, it didn't kill, it sacrificed. The Terrans didn't win the war, they ended it by ending themselves. So that others could live, so the stars could shine again, so that no other race would ever make the same mistake. Across the galaxy, a final signal repeated on every old human beacon. We were never your enemy. We were your shield. Let the stars remember. We stood, and they did. Aliens built statues on every world that survived, of humans with silent faces, standing alone in front of a broken door. The coalition changed its laws. The dead zone was restored but never entered again, and every school taught the same final words. Words burned into the sky by the last Terran light. They weren't the threat, they were the lock. And now, the price has been paid.